My gracious chosen, do not close this message. I am not asking. I am commanding you in the name of the Most High. Do not scroll past this. Do not dismiss what you are about to hear, because in the next 16 minutes, I am going to reveal something about your life that you have been avoiding for months. A truth so uncomfortable, so confronting, so revealing, that if you ignore it one more time, you will carry the same chains into your next season that you dragged through this one. And everything you hoped would change when the season shifted will remain exactly the same. Out of everyone scrolling right now, only 4 people were meant to see this message at this exact moment. 2 already scrolled past thinking it was not for them. 1 is watching this from Portland or Dallas or Atlanta. And you are the 4th and final person. And your guardian angel is standing next to you right now with their hand on your shoulder because they have been trying to get this message to you for 27 days. They have been giving you dreams you cannot quite remember. They have been waking you up at strange hours with your mind suddenly alert. They have been causing you to see patterns, hear phrases, encounter moments that felt too specific to be random. And you kept explaining it away. You kept rationalizing. You kept telling yourself it was nothing, but it was not nothing. It was heaven trying to show you something you refused to see. Type 222 in the comments right now. Not 777, not 111. Type 222 because you are standing at a threshold, a doorway between what was and what could be. And when you type those 3 digits, you are making a declaration into the spiritual realm. You are saying, I am ready to see what I have been avoiding. I am ready to hear what I have been ignoring. I am ready to face what I have been running from. Do it now. Type 222 before you read another word because every second you delay is a second you remain in denial. Listen to me very carefully. You made a list. Maybe you wrote it down. Maybe you just thought it in your head. Maybe you spoke it out loud to someone you trust. A list of things you were going to change, habits you were going to break, patterns you were going to interrupt, cycles you were going to end, relationships you were going to heal or release, dreams you were going to pursue, fears you were going to face. And you looked at that list and you believed this time would be different. This time you would actually do it. This time you would not give up after 3 weeks. This time you would see it through. But here we are. The season is about to shift. The calendar is about to turn. The cycle is about to complete. And what did you actually do? What did you actually change? What did you actually transform? Be honest with yourself right now, because I already know the answer. I saw you on day 11 when the motivation faded. I watched you on day 17 when the old comfort started calling you back. I witnessed day 23 when you convinced yourself that maybe the change was not that important. I saw day 28 when you completely abandoned what you started. And now here you are, standing at the threshold of a new season, still carrying the weight of the old one. Hit the like button right now if you recognize yourself in what I just said. This is not about supporting a video. This is about admitting the truth. When you press that button, you are acknowledging that you did not finish what you started. You are confessing that you let yourself down again. You are accepting responsibility instead of making excuses. And the moment you acknowledge the truth, the moment you stop defending your delay, heaven can begin the real work. Like it now before you read another sentence. Let me tell you what has actually been happening. You thought your lack of follow-through was about willpower. You thought it was about discipline. You thought it was about finding the right system, the right accountability partner, the right motivation. But it was none of those things. There is a spirit that has been assigned to you specifically. Not to everyone, to you. A spirit of delay, a spirit of distraction, a spirit of starting but not finishing. And this spirit knows something about you that you have forgotten. It knows the purpose you were created to fulfill. It knows the assignment you were born to complete. It knows the impact you are meant to make. And it knows that if you ever actually step into your full identity, If you ever actually operate in your complete authority, if you ever actually walk in your true calling, its entire operation over your family line collapses. So what does it do? It does not stop you from starting. It lets you start. It lets you get excited. It lets you make plans. It lets you declare intentions. But then, somewhere around day 11 to day 28, it whispers. It introduces doubt. It manufactures obstacles. It creates distractions. It reminds you of past failures. It shows you how far you have to go instead of how far you have come. And slowly, subtly, you stop. Not dramatically, just gradually. You skip one day, then two, then a week, then suddenly a month has passed and you are right back where you started. And the worst part? You did not even notice when it happened. You cannot point to the exact moment you gave up because it was not a decision. It was a drift. And drifting is more dangerous than quitting because when you quit, you know what you did. But when you drift, you lie to yourself and say you are still trying. You tell yourself you just need to get back on track. You convince yourself you will restart soon. But soon never comes. And the season changes without you changing. Share this message with 3 people right now. Their faces just appeared in your mind. One of them made the same list you made. One of them is experiencing the same drift you experienced. One of them needs to hear this before the season shifts, or they will carry the same unfinished business into the next cycle. Share it now. Your obedience could interrupt their pattern. Now let me tell you what happens if you cross into the new season without addressing this. Everything you hoped would be different will be the same. The habits you wanted to break will follow you. The patterns you wanted to interrupt will continue. The fears you wanted to face will still control you. The dreams you wanted to pursue will remain on hold. The relationships you wanted to heal will stay broken. The weight you wanted to release will still be on your shoulders. And 6 months into the new season, you will look around confused, frustrated, disappointed, wondering why nothing changed when the calendar changed. And the answer will be simple. You changed your circumstances, but you did not change yourself. But here is what most people do not understand. The transition point between seasons is not just a date. It is a portal. It is a spiritual doorway. It is a moment when heaven grants unusual access, uncommon grace, supernatural assistance. For a brief window, the veil is thin. The resistance is low. The support is high. What would normally take you 6 months to change can be changed in 6 days during this transition window. What would normally require immense willpower can happen with ease during this threshold moment. But you have to use the window. You have to walk through the portal. You have to cross the threshold, and that window is closing. Subscribe to this channel right now and turn on all notifications because I am releasing specific instructions for this transition period. If you miss even one message, you might miss the instruction meant for your specific situation. When you subscribe, you are positioning yourself to receive ongoing guidance. You are saying, I am not crossing this threshold blind. I am paying attention. I am staying connected. Subscribe now. Let me tell you about 3 people who understood this. Marcus from Denver finally got serious during his transition point last year. He had tried to quit the addiction 17 times before. 17 failed attempts over 8 years. Each time he started strong, motivated, determined. Each time he lasted anywhere from 4 days to 6 weeks. Then something would trigger him. A stress, a memory, a moment of weakness. And he would be right back in the cycle. But during the transition window, something shifted. He did not just try harder. He addressed the spirit behind the addiction. He identified the agreement he made at age 19 that gave that spirit legal access. He renounced it. He broke it. He closed the door. Within 11 days, the craving stopped. Not decreased. Not became manageable. Stopped completely. A year later, he is completely free. No relapses. No white-knuckling. No constant battle. The desire itself left. The transition point was the key, because he did not just change his behavior. He changed his spiritual authority. Keisha from Boston had been trying to start her business for 4 years. 4 years of planning, researching, preparing, taking courses, reading books, but never launching. She had the skills. She had the knowledge. She had the business plan. What she did not have was the courage to begin. During her transition point, she realized she was not lacking resources. She was battling a spirit of fear disguised as perfectionism. That spirit kept whispering, "Wait until everything is perfect. Wait until you know more. Wait until the timing is better." She renounced the fear. She broke the pattern of delay. She gave herself permission to start imperfectly. She launched within 9 days of the new season. Today, her business supports 3 families, has 15 employees, and is expanding to a second location. The revenue last month was more than she made in an entire year at her old job. The transition point activated what 4 years of preparation could not, because preparation without activation is just procrastination with a plan. David from Phoenix had been estranged from his son for 6 years. 6 years of hurt feelings, wounded pride, stubborn silence. They lived in the same city, occasionally saw each other at family events, exchanged awkward small talk, then went their separate ways. The gap kept growing. The years kept passing. During his transition point, he felt the nudge. This is the moment. If you let this threshold pass without reaching out, another year will go by. Then 2, then 5. He wrote the letter he had been avoiding for 6 years. He poured everything out. The regrets, the apologies, the love he never expressed. He made the call he had been postponing, voice shaking, heart racing. His son answered. They talked for 2 hours. Within 14 days, they were sitting across from each other crying, healing, restoring what was broken. They spent the holidays together for the first time in 6 years. The relationship is thriving now. They talk 3 times a week. His son named him godfather to his newborn daughter. David almost let the transition point pass without acting, but he caught it. He used the window, and it changed everything. But let me also tell you about those who missed it. Jennifer from Seattle stood at the same transition point 2 years ago. She felt the nudge. She knew she needed to address her anger, her bitterness, her unforgiveness toward her former business partner who betrayed her. She knew it was poisoning her. She knew it was affecting her health. She knew it was blocking her progress. But she told herself she would deal with it later, after she got through the busy season, after things settled down, after she felt ready. The season shifted. The anger stayed. It festered. It grew. 6 months later, it cost her a new relationship because she projected the old betrayal onto someone who had nothing to do with it. It cost her a job opportunity because her bitterness came across in the interview. It cost her peace of mind, joy, and 2 years of her life. She is still trying to recover from what she could have released at the threshold. She recently told me if she could go back, she would have taken that moment seriously. Michael from Atlanta had the same opportunity a year ago. He knew he needed to stop the secret habit, the pornography addiction that started small when he was 15 and grew into something that controlled him at 33. He knew he needed to confess it to someone safe, address it with professional help, break the cycle, but he convinced himself he could stop any time, that it was not that bad, that he had it under control. The transition point passed. The habit got worse. It progressed to things he swore he would never do. It eventually got exposed in the most painful way possible when his wife found the evidence. His marriage almost ended. His reputation took a hit he is still recovering from. They are in counseling now, rebuilding trust inch by painful inch. He told me the transition point was his grace window. He felt it. He knew it. But he let fear and shame keep him silent. And silence at the threshold led to exposure at the worst possible time. He wishes he had used the window when it was open. Comment right now, "I will not miss my window." Type it exactly like that. Speak it. Declare it. Write it. This is your commitment. This is your decision. This is your line in the sand. When you type those words, something shifts in the atmosphere around your life. Windows that were closing begin to open. Grace that was lifting begins to settle. Support that was withdrawing begins to engage. Do it now. I will not miss my window. Right now, as you sit here, you are feeling something. Maybe it is conviction. Maybe it is discomfort. Maybe it is resistance. Maybe it is hope. Whatever you are feeling is important because your emotions are telling you this message is for you. This is not generic content. This is not random information. This is a specific word for your specific situation. And your body knows it even if your mind wants to deny it. Pay attention to what you feel because that feeling is confirmation. Let me tell you what you need to do before this transition point closes. You need to do 3 specific things. Not suggestions. Requirements, not recommendations. Mandates. If you want to cross the threshold changed instead of unchanged, if you want to step into the new season free instead of bound, if you want the next cycle to be different instead of a repeat, these 3 things are non-negotiable. First, you need to identify the specific spirit that has been interrupting your progress. Not a general demon, a specific assignment. For some of you, it is a spirit of procrastination. For others, it is a spirit of self-sabotage. For some, it is a spirit of distraction. For others, it is a spirit of fear disguised as wisdom. You need to name it. You cannot break what you do not name. Sit in silence for 10 minutes. Ask the Holy Spirit to show you what has been operating. And when you hear it, when you know it, speak it out loud. Say, "I break agreement with the spirit of whatever name you received. I revoke its access to my life. I cancel its assignment. I close the door it has been using." Say it with authority. Say it with conviction. Say it now. Second, you need to write a completion letter, not to anyone else, to yourself. Write down everything you started this season that you did not finish. List it. Name it. Own it. No excuses. No explanations. Just facts. Then under that list, write these words. I forgive myself for not finishing what I started. I release myself from guilt and shame. I accept responsibility without condemnation. And I commit to crossing this threshold with nothing left undone. Sign it. Date it. This is your closure document. This is how you officially end the old season. This is how you release yourself to enter the new one. Do this before the transition point closes. Third, you need to make one declaration about the new season that scares you. Not something safe, not something easy, something that requires faith, something that demands change, something that will only happen if God shows up. Write it down, speak it out loud, tell one person about it. This declaration becomes your stake in the ground. This becomes your point of no return. This becomes the thing that pulls you forward when you want to drift backward. Make the declaration before the window closes. Now let me tell you what happens in the first 30 days after you cross the threshold correctly. Within the first week, you will experience unusual clarity. Decisions that have been foggy for months will suddenly become obvious. Directions that have been unclear will suddenly make sense. You will wake up one morning and just know what to do next. That is the transition grace still working. Within the first 2 weeks, you will encounter a divine connection. Someone will cross your path who carries a piece of your next season. You will meet them in the most unexpected place. The conversation will feel significant. Do not dismiss it. That is heaven positioning relationships. Within the first 3 weeks, you will see tangible evidence that something shifted. Money will show up from an unexpected source. An opportunity will present itself that was not there before. A relationship will heal that seemed permanently broken. That is your confirmation that you crossed correctly. And within 30 days, you will look back at the person you were at the transition point and barely recognize them. The habits that controlled you will have loosened their grip. The fears that paralyzed you will have lost their power. The patterns that enslaved you will have been interrupted. You will still be in process. You will not have arrived, but you will have momentum. And momentum in the right direction changes everything. But here is what you need to know. All of this is only available if you address it at the threshold. If you wait until you are 3 weeks into the new season, the window has closed. The grace has lifted. The ease has ended. It is still possible, but it is exponentially harder. This is why I am being so urgent. This is why the tone is so intense. This is why your spirit is on alert right now. You are standing at the doorway. The door is open. But it will not stay open indefinitely. You have to walk through while it is accessible. If you feel led by the Spirit, sow a financial seed right now through Super Thanks. Not as payment for this message. Heaven's warnings are free, but as a demonstration of faith. As a declaration that you believe the new season will be financially different. As a seed planted in transition soil that will produce transition harvest. People who sowed during their threshold moment sent testimonies about how provision showed up in the new season that did not exist in the old season. Jobs, promotions, bonuses, contracts, debt canceled. All of it connected to seeds sown at the transition point. Sow if you are led, and watch what happens. Receive this blessing right now as you prepare to cross. May the spirit of delay lose all authority over your life. May every pattern that kept you stuck be broken at the threshold. May every cycle that repeated itself for years be interrupted. May every habit that enslaved you lose its power. May every fear that controlled you lose its voice. May every doubt that stopped you lose its influence. May you cross this threshold with nothing holding you back. May the new season be marked by momentum instead of stagnation. May you finish what you start. May you follow through on what you commit to. May you walk in consistency instead of drift. May your testimony 90 days from now be so dramatic that people ask what happened. And may you point back to this moment and say, that is when I stopped playing games with my purpose. That is when I got serious about my calling. That is when I crossed the threshold correctly. Some of you are going to ignore this. You are going to tell yourself you will deal with it after the transition. You are going to convince yourself it is not that urgent. And in 6 months, you are going to be sitting in the same place you are sitting right now, carrying the same weight, fighting the same battles, wondering why nothing changed. And you are going to remember this message. You are going to remember these words. You are going to wish you had taken it seriously. But it will be too late. The threshold moment will have passed, and you will have to wait for the next transition cycle. But most of you are going to respond. You are going to take this seriously. You are going to complete the 3 requirements. You are going to cross the threshold intentionally. You are going to use the transition grace. In 3 months from now, you are going to send me a testimony. You are going to tell me how different everything is. You are going to describe the momentum. You are going to celebrate the breakthrough. And your story is going to become someone else's hope. Your testimony is going to be proof that transition points matter. The choice is yours. But choose quickly. The window is closing. The door is still open, but not for long. The threshold is still accessible, but not indefinitely. You are standing at the most important moment you have faced this entire season. What you do right now determines what you experience next. Cross correctly. Use the grace. Do the work. and watch how different the next season becomes. Your breakthrough begins the moment you stop making excuses and start making moves. This is your moment. This is your threshold. Do not miss it. In Jesus' name, amen.